This is Owen McKendry for ESBR Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Stephen Smith. Stephen, we'll start with your gym first and a great night of boxing. Jack Turner, my lord, probably down on the cards at the time, and he's absolutely obliterated his opponent in a space of about 15 seconds. How important were those rounds for him and to almost experience adversity? Because obviously Jack Turner's just been blasting everyone out in 1 or 2 rounds.
I think that'll do Jack the world of good. I think it's the first time someone sort of, I'm not going to say took what he had because obviously we've seen the finish, but kept taking what he was throwing and kept coming back at him and running at him and starting around and stuff. And that will do, I said to Jack himself, that'll do him the world of good. He will come on leaps and bounds from that because he'll learn a lot of now to keep his shape a little bit better and pick his moments, because at the end of the day, mate, he's blessed with unbelievable power. The kid can hit like a mule, and there's no secret, you know what I mean? If you see what he does to kids when he eventually lands. So when he starts learning and realise he's got 12 rounds, a long time in there, you know, keep your shape, work on your technique, you know, get your form properly, you'll find your openings. And listen, as I say, he's blessed with crazy power, and we've seen what he's done there. He can do that at any moment in any fight.
I said this in an interview before about a different fighter. Do you see it as well? It was agreed that it's almost like the angel and the devil is power, because, you know, the angel is obviously, it's amazing, there's obviously the power, he can just blast anyone out, but the devil's almost, like you say, he doesn't get rounds in, he just chins everyone. So like you say, when it comes to that scenario, if someone's stepping on his toes, it's almost like, okay, I'm not necessarily used to this in the ring. So would you agree with that, or you just think his power's just unbelievable?
I think the kid's got unbelievable power, but I do agree with what you're saying. Sometimes, you know, you don't waste enemy when you're getting rid of kids early, because the minute you start going late, people start looking whether you can do it. And I think that's been the case with Jack, but, you know, that'll do him the world of good. You know, my brother Liam was in the corner with him and said the same thing. You know, it'd be good for him to keep getting that kid up. Maybe that kid comes over and spars in future, because that kid give him good valuable rounds, and that'd be good learning for the kid going forward.
Steve Clark, another good performance from himself. How fast do you think he can move? Because he's got a good fan base behind him. Most Liverpool fighters do, but, you know, a bit like Jack Turner, he looks like he's going to be a real problem.
Yeah, do you know what? He's still a baby in the game. I just want him to keep learning, keep developing. He's an absolute model professional. I love training the kid, because anything you ask him, he does it. You know, I genuinely, you know, enjoy coaching him, because he wants to learn, he wants to improve, and I love his attitude. So, you know, the fact that he's willing to learn, he's willing to improve, he's still a baby. You know, we're going to see him get better and better and keep improving. And I was happy with tonight's performance. I asked him to go out and show me, you know, be disciplined, don't take any stupid shots, you know, try and keep your discipline. You know what you're in with. You know, the kids, you know, old school, just, you know, he knows what he's doing. He's going to try and mess you around, he's going to try and get through the rounds, and, you know, he will wing the right hook over the top. So just, you know, stay switched on, don't take daft shots. Land your own shots and show your level, and I thought he'd done everything I asked him tonight. I was really pleased with him, and you know, I think I'll be doing good going forward.
Just a couple more for me, Stephen. The main event, unbelievable barnstormer of a fight. The draw, most people, you know, I've said this in a couple of interviews now, when it's a majority draw, there's a lot of moaning, there's a lot of groaning. I think the whole arena, myself included, just went, okay, we'll see that fight again. Do you think the draw was fair?
Listen, I'd be hypocritical if I was to make a comment on it. I was in the back warming Steve Clark up, so I was popping my head out, and it looked an unbelievable fight. It looked to me at times like Jack was getting on top, like Mark was feeling the body shots and he was going to get to him, and all of a sudden Mark would bite his gum shield and throw a combination and seemed to land it and get himself back in the fight all the time, from what I've seen. But again, I was popping my head out and having a little look to see how much to push these warm-up, and this warm-up was a bit up and down to that, but look, great fight, everyone seems happy with it, so I'm sure we'll see it again.
And then final one from me, Darren Till, obviously training in the gym, obviously on Misfits fighting Luke Rockhold. Rocky Fielding was calling for that fight with Darren. They're having a bit of a back and forth on Twitter. Rocky's now fighting Brandon Glanton, who lost to Chris Billon-Smith recently. What did you make of that? Obviously I know Darren really wanted the fight, but do you think that could have been made? Do you think that could still be made?
Yeah, listen, I'm not based at the Thunderdome, and I work out the four corners, so I haven't really seen any of Darren's camp, but, you know, my brother's there, and from what I'm hearing, he's training really well, and he's fully prepared for the task in hand now. You know, he wouldn't overlook Luke, so he's prepared for the task in hand. If he goes and does the job, and if Rocky comes back and shows he's still got something left and he looks good himself, then I'm sure people can call for that fight and want to see it next. But I think Darren's fully focused on what he's going into. You know, he's a week out now, so he's looking good from all accounts, and he's going to go and put a performance in, and then he can move on to whatever he wants. He's making a good name for him in the misfit scene, and it's getting all the views, and it's pushing him on his boxing career.
And then the final one from me, we're a couple of weeks out from Canelo Crawford. It's a super fight. I myself have been guilty. I've changed my mind, changed my opinion about 37 times. When the fight was first made, did you make a prediction and have an opinion over who was going to win, and has that changed at all?
No, and it's a bit hard for me to explain this because I absolutely love Terence Crawford. I think he's the best fighter in the world. He's probably one of the best. He is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters out there. I love his style, love the way he sets about his work. Massive fan of him, but I just believe the time Canelo Alvarez has now spent up at super middle. I say he's fought at light heavy, he's been through the weights before, he's been middleweight for years. I just think that natural size will enable him to be a lot bigger on the night. I think, look, Crawford looks big now at the minute, but he's going to weigh in at 168. He's not going to get in the ring that much bigger, I don't believe. Whereas I think Canelo will. I think he'll have a massive size advantage on the night, just in weight and stuff. And I do think that pays its toll. I think, people will always say, like, a good big man beats a good small man. I know these aren't that much size difference, but I do think the weight will play a part on the night. And I think Canelo's natural size may just tip it in his favour, in my opinion. But again, a massive Crawford fan. I wouldn't begrudge him winning, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say Canelo.
Stephen Smith, thank you so much for your time, my friend. Thank you.